We're about to take a deep dive into the world of AI in automotive retail. It's going to be an illuminating ride. Let's begin with Michael Carrick, who will demystify AI and its foundations in the context of auto dealerships.
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for coming and learning about AI with us. So I'm going to start with what is AI, and we have a video put together that will go through the explanation. So I'm going to let the video play first, and then I'll dive into a few of the nuances about what is this generative AI versus other preconceived notions of AI.
What is AI? That's a really good question. Explaining AI can be a bit tricky, but let me try to break it down using something we're all familiar with, a skilled chef in a kitchen. This might help us understand not just what AI is, but also how it works, even without an internet connection. Imagine you're watching your favorite cooking show. The star chef steps into the kitchen and, without missing a beat, starts whipping up an amazing dish. No cookbook in sight, no Google searches, just pure culinary magic. That chef? That's our AI. Now you might be wondering, how does the chef know what to do? Well, it all starts with training. Just like a chef spends years in culinary school and working in kitchens, AI goes through a rigorous training phase. It's like the AI is learning recipes, understanding flavor combinations, and mastering cooking techniques. But instead of food, it's processing vast amounts of data, learning patterns, and developing its own intuition for solving problems. So what happens when the cameras start rolling and the chef needs to perform? They tap into all that knowledge they've accumulated. They can recall recipes from memory, combine ingredients based on their understanding of flavors, and even create new dishes on the fly. That's exactly what a well-trained AI does. Once it's trained, it has its own mental cookbook, a complex set of patterns and rules it can apply to new situations. But here's where it gets really interesting. Let's say we drop our chef onto a remote island with no phone, no internet, not even a cookbook. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? But a skilled chef can still work wonders. They can cook excellent meals using whatever ingredients are available, adapt recipes based on what's on hand, and solve culinary problems using their experience and creativity. That's the beauty of AI. Once it's trained, it doesn't need to be constantly connected to the internet to function. It's like it carries its own vast library of knowledge wherever it goes. It can generate responses, adapt its knowledge to new situations, and solve problems all based on what it learned during training. So, there you have it. AI is like a well-trained chef, carrying around a vast mental cookbook of knowledge and the ability to creatively apply that knowledge to new situations. And just like a skilled chef can cook up a storm without constantly referring to recipes or the internet, a well-designed AI can operate effectively even when offline, relying on its extensive training to generate responses and solve problems.
Fantastic. So I really do like the chef definition because it explains that things that you learn throughout your education as a professional is very similar to the way AI does it. It's not about having a database of the internet. It's about understanding the relationship of data, of elements, of ideas, of concepts. That's really what is the function of generative AI. So some of the elements that you need to think about or components are large language models. These are the models that we use as the engine or electricity that kind of run our AI agents. So there are a lot of options out there. OpenAI was one of the first to really hit the market publicly and people were aware of. We have Google's Gemini. It's known for its large context window. We have Anthropic's Claude, which has a really high reasoning factor. DeepSeek, which is an open source model that came out. There are literally new models coming out every 2 weeks to a month, and new iterations of models coming from things like OpenAI and Anthropic, et cetera, that we have to pay attention to. So lots of language models that are available. The next is the multimodal capability. So originally when generative AI came out, it was very focused on language, copy. I write text in, I get text back. But as we can see from the music that Barry put together with AI to the videos that we've put together with AI, it's gone far beyond just copy, has gone into images, has gone into audio, has gone into video, really expanding its functions and capabilities. And with simple plugins, we can now get it to create PowerPoint documents or Word documents, really helping get out of the idea of just copy into a lot more models of content creation. And the last is the customization. This is where data enhancements, and whether that's a RAG, which is a customized data set, or knowledge files for these agents, can really help create expertise in specific areas versus a large language model, which is a very, I want to say, generic answer that you would get versus if you create an expert agent and you add expert knowledge files to it, it gets much more precision and much higher level of quality in its output. So the customization around the prompt that is the agent or the knowledge files can really help pin down a specific expertise or capability. And that's a big part of what differentiates AutoAgentic in this case. So history, I'm going to run through this really quick. AI has been around, and the concepts and the ideas around AI have been around for a while. The Turing test refers to the idea of a machine being able to have a conversation with a human and a human not know it. That was kind of the main bar test of AI. And obviously, we've gotten quite far now with GPT and generative content that people often don't realize they're watching or speaking with or texting with AI. But it's amazing how really since a paper that was written on Transformers, which is really the underlying technology around generative AI, came out in 2017, we've seen this hockey curve effect of generative AI, all these models, and then these massive impacts, whether it's applications or enterprise, or again, these multi-modal capabilities of image and video. So the concepts have been really long in their building and the understanding, but in the last 5 years, we've seen just an astronomical uptake and new technologies coming out again every 2 weeks to a month. So it's quite fast. So just to give you an idea, in 2020, when GPT-3 came out, its parameters, and this is what's trained on, kind of like that chef, how much data, how many ideas, how many concepts, how many relationships was it trained by, was quite small in comparison to the billion plus parameter years of GPT-4. And then in 2024, now we're getting large models and small models, models that can run on your phone, models that can run on your laptop, models that need to be run in the cloud because they're so big. So we're seeing a variety of models coming out that can now be pinned down to specific use cases. When is something good to do a general concept of generative AI versus when is something needed to do really large, complicated things that AI can do, like mass amounts of data or watching 24-hour video footage from thousands of cameras to find elements for efficiency and opportunity. So the models have grown, but now the use cases have changed, which gives us a variety of tools that we can use. The other thing we want to focus on is, again, that expedited nature in which AI is driving just its sheer quality. So here we have some images originally generated. I think the request was Conan O'Brien and Shrek on the left in 2021. And on the right, just a few years later, we have fake news that's coming up constantly that looks as real as someone taking that photo. We have influencers and models that are AI generated now, and it's becoming really hard to tell the difference between reality and AI generated content in just a few years. We went from AI being joked about having 7 fingers in a picture to really having trouble now identifying what is generated versus what is original. A good example of this is a Will Smith video. And again, this is only in a year. On the left, you have a video created by AI of Will Smith trying to eat spaghetti. You can see the spaghetti not even getting into his mouth. 1 year later, and that's the incredible speed of quality where people are making fun of it at one moment, but whenever you see AI, it is currently at its worst. It's only getting better. So a lot of talk this year around what is agentic AI, and agentic AI is really about models and AI and tools working together. You can see that you're still going to put in a natural language input. You're going to say, I want this thing, or can you help answer this thing? But rather than just going to a model and giving you an answer, it's now going to reason, well, what do you need and how can I help you? And what's the right agent that could help you? And what's the right model correlation to that request? Is it a mathematical request or a ciphering request or a data request? Okay, we might want to go with a model that has high reasoning. We might want to deal with an agent that is specifically well versed in data. And then we're going to submit your request and go through a work process where that query has now been enhanced through AI by saying, hey, I want this piece of data, saying, hey, they want data that could include all of these varieties. So then the data submits through the workflow and executes on that and brings it back. So what you're getting with agentic AI is taking a simple input, making it more robust, going through workflows where decisions are being made on what tools should be used, what agents could be used, what LLMs could be used, including decisions, micro decisions that might be made in terms of strategy, all to give a higher quality, more refined output in the end. So when you think about agentic systems, it's about providing almost autonomy to these agents. So right now there's a lot of what we call human in the loop, which agent, you create a query, agent gives you content. Well, now agents are going to work with other agents, and they're going to work with tools and plugins and functions, all with the idea of the task you gave them, but they're going to make lots of decisions along the way on your behalf, even doing their own QA to make sure that they're meeting your expectations from your original prompt. So there are a lot of benefits from agentic systems. Here we can see that it's going to improve efficiency, it's going to drive automation, it's going to speed up the capabilities of AI, which are already incredibly fast. It's going to be able to work with systems you're already integrated, whether that's data systems, CRM systems, whether it's your finance systems, where it can review things on the fly and correlate that data with your website. It's going to give more autonomy to the agents by creating more capability, but that's going to give time back to the business to look at the data, to make decisions, to drive the business forward, knowing that things that used to take weeks or months can now be done in days. So there are an incredible amount of efficiencies and benefits to businesses when AI starts to work with other functions and capabilities and tools. It's going to be basically a 2.0 of what we're working with today.